Alright, so welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful and exciting tutorial, we're trying to see how to work with a very nice library called Folium. Right, so we're doing a simple crash course on Folium. So by the end of the tutorial, we'll try and see the basics of Folium and how to add markers, how to work with icons, and then pop-ups, as well as customizing them. Right, so let's see how to work with it. So let's start with this. So in case you don't have Folium on your system, you can install it with this option here. This is going to be the installation. In case you want to install it on your system, you can simply do this, right? So we do pip install Folium, right? That's how to install your system. We will also be using GeoPandas to help us work with some stuff. So these are the two main packages that we'll be using in our tutorial, right? So let's start with it. So I'll go back again, and then I'll just load my package. I'm going to load the package to be using, so I'm going to import Folium, right? So let's start with it. So let's start with the very basics, right, of working with Folium. So this is going to be the basics, and then to work with the basics, you'll see how to work with it. So all that you need when you're working with Folium, that you need first of all, to in case you want to create a map, you just go with Folium, right, and then you create map. And then inside here, this particular option here takes in some argument. So if I go back here and I just do this here, you see that it takes in some parameters, right? So these are all this is the actual function that it takes in. It takes in the location, the width, the height, and then the left and top and position, right? So let's see that, and it takes in some zoomed stuff. So this is the basic overview of it. So let's start with it. So to start, I'll just go back again and create my M for Folium map, and then I'll pass in my location. So let's give it a location which is there, and it's a sequence of float. So I'll just pass in some values. So let's pass in my starter value. So I have some values that I want to put there. So it can be a sequence. So a sequence can be a tuple, or it can be a list or something. So let's go with this option here, and then if I go straight away, so this is it. So this is all that I need, right? So I have my location and my map, and in case I want to show this map, how do I do that? To show the map, I'll just go with my M. If I go with this, automatically I have my map here, and it's automatically zoomed in, right? So this is the entire map, right? Out of the box, it has given us this simple map, right? Perfect. But this is too much zoomed out, so we can change the zoom and specify that we want the zoom to be starting at a particular location. So let's say 4, and then if I run it and I run it again, now it starts in a more smaller way, right, instead of the bigger one. This is the basics, right? So all you need is this, and then this is the location, and then to show the map, you just go with this option here. Now let's see how to add some markers to it, right? Because this application is simple. In case you want to save the map, it's very simple. Just go to m.save, then you pass in the name. So say my map, right, .html, and then you can just go with this, and it's saved. So if I go back here, we see that we have my map here. If I refresh again, you see you have my map, and I can open this one in a new browser tab, right? And you can see that it's here. So the same thing can be done out of the box. Okay, perfect. So that is the basics. Now let's see how to add working with markers. Right, you will see how to work with markers, because our map is very plain, and then it doesn't make sense, right? So to work with it, the simplest approach is, first let's create the map, the Folium map, right? And just go with my map, then Folium. So let me copy this here, which is actually the same thing here, and then I'll just specify that I want to add a marker. To add a marker, you just go with my marker, so Folium dot marker, and then this marker here takes in some parameters, right? So it takes in first the location that you want to put the mark on, and I can just put it, let's say 30, coordinate 3030. So that is the first one. And the next one we need is that we need to specify some other parameters. So let's go with my pop-up. In case I want a pop-up there, I can just say, okay, this is a pop-up, and then I can put in another stuff like the icon, right? Or let's go straight away. I can put in an icon, and I can just give it an icon that I want to use. So Folium.icon, then I'll pass in the color. So let's give it color blue for now. So this icon is just for a color without any stuff. So this is it. So this is how to create a marker. So you create a marker like this, and then to add the marker to the map, you just give it add to, and then you add it to your map. And now we can just do this, and now we see that we have our simple nice map with the location, so the initial location where it is starting, and then the marker is this, right? You can see that we have my icon color as blue and it's empty. By default it uses info, and if I click on it we see my pop-up button. Very cool. So that is the simple way you can work with Folium to add markers. And since you have understood this, we can do so many things with this. So let's see how to customize the other aspect of our marker. So we want to see how to customize, or let's say how to add icons. So how do we add icons? So we saw that we had the color there, but in case I want to add more icons, I can just go with my icon, and then the icon option here goes with the color here. There's color, and it also takes in a preface. So the preface is like in case you want it to be font awesome, and it also takes in the icon itself, so whatever icon you want to do, and this is using the font icon. So I can just put in, say, like house, right? So we have my color, we have the preface, so I want to use font awesome. So font awesome is this, font awesome, yeah, this back here. See, I was so fast. Font awesome, so font, yeah, this FA. So this is font awesome. So you can just check any of them, right? And then you can just use those icons that you are finding here. So that is a basic understanding. That is the meaning of the FA. So I have house, and if I go with this and I run it, now you see that we have, if I go to my marker, we have it changed. The icon has changed to a house, right? So I can also change it to another one. So I can just check one here. We have, let's say, a user, and then if I check user, the icon is FA user. Hopefully it works. I can now change it from here to, let's say, user, and if I run it, so now it has changed, right? So it has changed to the user icon, which is exactly the same icon we had here, right? Perfect. So that is one of the ways you can add icons to it, right? So you can modify your icons. You can also add a color to the icon by going with my icon color. If I go with icon color, let's call it as red so that you see the difference. If I run it, now you see that the icon color is different from the marker color, right? So the main color is the blue one, which is this, and then the icon color is the red one. Very cool. I can change it from user to, yeah, you can keep it as user like that. Perfect. So that is how to add and work with icons. Let's see the next thing we can also do. How do we add custom icons, right? So we have seen how to add icons. Now in case I want to add a custom icon, so the custom icon can be, let's say I have my own icon I want to add. So how do I do that? So I'll just copy the same thing here just to keep it up, and then I'll show you how to add a simple custom icon to it. So to add a custom icon, all you need is you just have to specify your custom icon. So I'll come down here, I'll go with my, let's say, custom icon, and then you just go with my Folium.features.custom icon. Then here I'll just pass in my icon. So I can pick an icon, so let's say data center icon image. Then I'll just save one. So I'm going to save this one. This one looks nice. You can save this one as an image, which I've already done, and I'll use it. So I call it here. So this is it. This is data center image, this one, and I want to use this particular icon as this particular image as my icon. Then I'll just pass it here. So data center icon, right? That is it. So this is all that you need. And then you can also specify the icon size. So you have the icon color, icon size, you can do all of them. So let's give it my icon size. So let's go to 30. You can also give it a color in case it doesn't have a color, and that is it. And now instead of using this icon here, now I'll not use this one. I'll just take off all of this. I don't want to use any of this anymore. I want to use my custom icon. And then if I run it, now if I go back here, I check, you see that we have my data center icon here, right? So if I zoom in, you can see that we have my icon here, right, in this location. So if I click on it, you can see that the pop-up there, and now the icon has changed. So that is how to add custom icons using Folium. Very cool, right? Okay, now how do we modify the pop-up? So this is going to be the next one. We can with pop-up, right? So the pop-up is very useful. You can use to do a lot of information. So the previous one we have, you see that we have just one pop-up. If I click on it, we have my pop-up like this, but we can customize this pop-up and make it very nice. So let's see a simple example. So I'll just go back and I will copy this same, the one that we have on top. So let's do something very basic. So I'll just copy the one we had on top, and then you work on it. So now this is how to do the pop-up. Initially we had a pop-up as this is a pop-up, but we can use any HTML stuff there, right? Any string or HTML. So if I go back and I change it some pop-up name, and I'm using HTML here, as you can see. I'm using, sorry, now it is big, sorry for it being small. I'm using HTML here. Now if I save it and I run it, you can see that it has changed, right? And if I click on this pop-up here, so now some pop-up name, right? This is HTML, right? So that means that I can add so many things to it. I can add something different. Say p tag, say this is new, and if I run it, you see that that is also there. So this is new. So one is smaller and one is bigger, right? So this gives you so many things you can do out of the box. So you can even insert images into it. You can insert the whole table into it. So let's see how to do that. How do we insert a table or an image into this? We want to insert an image into the Folium pop-up, right? So how do we do that? So first, as you can see from here, right, this, anytime I close this, so this is a div, right? So this entire stuff is a div. That means that it's an HTML. So you need to convert your image into base 64 encoding to be able to render this HTML, right? So that is how to do that. So first, I'm just going to import base 64, and then I will get the image that I want to pass there. So I'll got just encoded text. Then this is going to be my base 64 dot. We need to encode it with base 64 encode. Then I'll pass in my file that I want to open. So let's pass in the same image. So we had our, let's go to here, my data center icon. Then I'll open it, right? Perfect. Then let's read this. Yeah, so we have, and then let's decode. So this is, if I read this one now and I run this here, you can see that this is a hash, right? Some value, some encoding, right? And this is the image, this encoded image is what I'll be using. So now let's pass this into HTML, image in HTML, and I'll use f string and inside here I'll pass in my image tag. So image source, and the source is going to be, as you already know, I'm converting it to be 64. So image, then I specify that I want this one to be a PNG image, then I want it to be base64, right? So base64, this is how to encode it. Then I'll pass in my encoded image. Perfect. So this is all that we need. Perfect. And now I can now create an iframe, because we need to pass this thing into an iframe. I'll go with my Folium.iframe. So you have to know that this iframe is capital F, right? Iframe. Then I'll pass in my image that I've converted. Then I'll specify the width. You can specify the width, you can leave it. So 400, and then the height is let's say 300. Perfect. So this is our simple iframe, right? So we encode the image into base64, we set into the image tag, we put it inside an iframe, and then we can now pop up. So pop up content, I can just go with this option here, Folium.popup. Then I'll pass in my iframe. I'll pass in the iframe, and I'll specify the max size or the max width. So let's keep it as I say 500, right? So these are all the stats that we need to do the conversion. And once I'm done with it, I can now repeat what we had. So now, instead of using this pop-up here, I'll now repeat this. So let's copy this entire stuff here. Now, instead of using this pop-up content here, we are no more using this pop-up content. We are using the pop-up content for what we have here, right? And if I run it now, so we have our image rendered. If I click on this, so we have our image in our HTML, right? See, the image is there. So that means that you can insert any image there. You can also make it bigger in case it is small for you. You can increase the size of the height, right? You can make it to say 600, and then let's say 400. Then you just go back. You can increase this. You see now it is bigger, right? With all of this. Perfect. So this is how you can insert an image into a pop-up, right? Using Folium. Let's move on from here to the final stuff that we can do. So we have seen the basic overview. We have seen how to work with the basics, how to add markers, how to add icons and custom icons, how to add pop-up, how to customize a pop-up. You can even insert a table or something or a link there. And the basic workflow is that you import Folium, you create a map icon for the initial map, you specify the zoom, then you can save it or you can visualize it. In case you want to add markers to it, you just add a marker with this option, and the marker contains all the information. You have seen how to add an icon, a custom icon, pop-up, and a custom pop-up with an image. Now let's see how to work with multiple data sets, right? So this is just one. So let's say working with data sets. So we want to see how do we work with multiple data sets. So first, I'm just going to import pandas, and then I'm going to let's import GeoPandas as PD. So GPD. So you can use data from pandas or data from GeoPandas to work on it. So let's load my data set, and I'm going to go to pd.read_csv. I have my countries data here. Then inside my countries data, I have some data that I want to. So we have so many. We can go with my countries. So I have so many, right? So let's pick one of them. Yeah, it's giving us, the reason this one gave us this error here is because it is a column separated, so sep. And if I check this one now, so we see that we have my data set. We have the name of the data, and then the region, then the calling code, and all of these things, right? All of this information that we have here, right? So in case we want to plot this on our map, we know that we have a name column, we have some, let's see, if I go with df.columns, we have some lat and long. We can split these ones, right? But I already have one that I've already splitted, so let's use that one. Yes, this one here, you use this one because that is already cleaned. And if I run this one, you can see that we have the name of the country, the capital, the border, the area, and then you have some other fields. So if I run it again, you have some other fields. You have the latitude and the longitude. We also have the population. Right, so we can plot as many information as we want to plot, right, from this data. So how do we do that? So simply, since we have our data now, we can just go back again and do the same thing we did above. So we create, let me copy because of time. I'll just copy this because it's the same thing, the same idea that we are using here all the time. Okay, let's go with this one. So I'll copy this because it's the simple one, simple approach. And then we just go with this. So this, we are creating our initial start point. Then we want to insert our markers, right? So to add a marker, we just loop through the entire stuff. So for I, for index, and a location in my df.iter rows, right? And this, now we are looping through the entire data set. So we are going to get the location as a row, right? So if I show you what I mean, as a row, right? And then if we have it as a row, we can now continually add the markers to it. So let's, because we have it a row, we now can pass it here, right? So I can pass in my location, which is a row, which in this case, I'll call it as, we can give it the longitude or latitude. So latitude, and then location, longitude. Right, so we have this option here. So we have the longitude here. You have the longitude or the latitude and then longitude. Perfect. And then we can just pass in something. So let's pass in some content. So I can pass in something like this. We will change it later. Location. So I can just pass in the population or something. Perfect, right? So we have it here, and that is all, right? So now I'm going to loop through the data that I have, my data frame. I'm going to add a plus to it. That is all. If I run it, so I had an error here because I forgot a comma. Yep. And now you see that automatically I have all the plots, right? So it is plotting the entire data set for us. And then if I click on it, you see the population, right? Which is very cool. Out of the box, right? So this is how to plot multiple data. So the most important thing is you initialize your map just like we did. You iterate through your data, and then you set the latitude and longitude together with any data that you want to show there. You can also add flags to it, right, as you wish. As I said, you can modify this pop-up. So I can use HTML. So this simple one, I can change this one and then create something like this. I can create something very simple that I can use. So something like this, right? And then when I look through it, I'll now use this pop-up. Instead of using this pop-up here, I'll just use my pop-up content. If I run it, now this has more information. So if I click on this one, so we have the whole population of the country, the population, and the capital, right, out of the box. Right, so you can do so many things with what you have done so far. this is cool, but sometimes the plot can be so crowded, right? And then you want to simplify it. So how do you simplify it? So there's another option we call MarkerCluster. So let's see how to work with it. So how to use MarkerCluster, right? So to use that, all you have to do is the same thing we did, the same information. We don't change anything. We use the same thing, but what you are using now is that you are going to go from into this. So from Folium, right? We want to import plugins, import my marker. There are many stuff in the plugins you can do, but we are using a MarkerCluster. We can also have fast MarkerCluster, which you can also use. Then instead of, then you do the same, then you create your cluster, right? You create your MarkerCluster. I'll call it a MarkerCluster like this. Or yeah, anyhow you want it to be. And then once you create your MarkerCluster, you pass it here. And then you'll be appending everything to this particular MarkerCluster. So add to M, right? So now this MarkerCluster will be the one that we are adding to. You're adding a MarkerCluster, not to the map. So remove the map, right? There, we are removing this. We are rather adding it directly to the MarkerCluster. And then when I call this now, you can see that it is cleaner, right? As compared to this one, which is clustered around. This is cleaner, right? And once I click on this, you see that it's giving us that cluster, and you see that it's automatically expanded. If I go back, it's that all the clusters are there, so that it's showing all of them, right? If I go to, let's say here, there's 15 in West Africa. If I click on it, you see that you have 3, and you see all of them coming, right? Which is very cool, right? Very, very nice. So there are 30 clusters here, 30 markets here, and it's split. Very nice. So that is how to use Folium to do some very cool stuff. I hope you have learned something. So thank you for watching this entire tutorial. So the last thing is, how do you use Choropleth, right? Choropleth, right? Maps. So how do you do that with? This is a very useful map that you can use. So I can show you what I mean. If I go to, there is this Geojson maps.ked. You need Geojson coordinates, right? Specific form of coordinates to be able to do those kind of plots. And that's the kind of plot like this, in which you can, as you can see from here, I can click on it and it highlights the whole region. We need a specific coordinates. So you can come here and then you can select all of them, right? Or you can select a particular region that you want, and then you can download it, right? But I want to get all, so I'll click on all of them. You can get the low resolution or the medium resolution, anyhow you want it to be, and then you just click on build, then it loads this, and then you can download and use it. So let's see how to do that. So that's downloaded it here, and then I'll be using this particular file here. So let's see how to do that. So first I'm going to load the data. It's going to be import GeoPandas as GPD. Then I'll use GeoPandas to read it. So Geojson data is going to be my gpd.read. So we need to read my file. So read file, and I'll pass in the data that I want to read. Right, so that is how to do that. I already have saved the data here, and now if I run it, it's going to load the data for us inside this file. And now this is like a data frame, so that all of them is there together with feature, admin, all this information, right? The countries that we have downloaded. Now in case I want to use a Choropleth plot, what I will do is that I'll just repeat the same thing we did here to save us time. I will copy this, So first you get our initial, then we have the content, and then we have an iteration. We need to add the Choropleth here. So let's add the Choropleth here. Choropleth, I don't know how to say it, apologies. Layer. Right, so to do that, all you just need to do is just go with my Folium.Choropleth, and this one takes in some parameters. First, it takes in the geodata. The geodata is the Geojson data that we downloaded, this one. Then it takes in your actual data, so the data that you want to plot. So in case I want to plot something from this my data frame, so let's say I want to plot the, say, the country and then the border, right? So let's create one for population, just only that one to show it. So now if I check this out, this is country's population. If I check, so we have the name and the population, right? We want to plot every country and then their population. So in that case, I'm looking through the stuff. I'm specifying the data that I want to plot, which is this one here. Then the columns inside this is the name column, and then the population column. So this columns here is referring to this, the columns inside our data, right, which is here. So there is name and then population. Okay, then once I'm done with that, I'll specify the key on, which is, this is the most important, one of the most important stuff. This here means that we want to go into my features, my property, and then I want to get to the name, right? So what does this mean? So inside my Geojson data, if I open it from here, and let's open this, so we have this run here, right? So we have my features. Then inside my features, we have my type. So the type is called a feature, right? And inside this type, we have property. So this property, inside the property, we have something called admin, which is a country name. We also have something called name here. So what we are doing is that we want to get the features dot properties dot name. So map according to the name. You can also say map according to, let's say, admin, right? Administration. But you want to map according to the name. Or you can map according to something different in case you have something different you want to map against, right? So maybe map according to population rank, or map according to something that is similar, right? Okay, so we want to map what we have in our data with our name to this, right? So it's mapping according to this. Okay, and then we will specify some other parameters. So let's say I want to specify some other stuff. So the other stuff I want to specify the opacity. I want to fill it with the line opacity. So the line opacity is the line between the borders. Then in case I don't find anything, I want to fill it with this color, right? And if I can also add a line color to it. Perfect. So let's add one more color, which is very important, which is my fill color. So this fill color can be, so there are different ones. So we can have, let's go with yellow and green. Yellow and green, right? You are going with yellow and green. You can change it to any color you want. And then now I will leave it. So this is my layer. So I've added the Choropleth layer. Then to use this particular layer I have to add it to my marker. So dot add to m, right, to my marker here. And then I can now run this. So let's save it. And now if I run it, you can see that we have our wonderful plot. You can see that we have it here, right? So this is colored based on the population. The one that does not have information, we have it not colored. You can see the different colors there, right? So some of them are bigger than the other. I can take off the marker in case I don't want this marker. I can take it off and then plot it, right? It is still going to work. So I can just take off this. And you can see that without the marker, you can see it all, right? So based on the population of the country, you see based on the country, right? So this is the legend country population. You can see the different colors, right? You can change this one to, let's say, a different color, like this is yellow, blue. So let's keep blue. If the color is there, it picks it up. So this is using blue, purple and blue. And if I check it out, you see that we have different colors, right? Perfect. So that is how to work with Folium. So you have seen how to do so many things with Folium. So thank you for watching this tutorial. In case you have any question or contribution, you can put it in the comment section below. See you another time. Stay blessed. Let me see what you can do. You can also add different tiles and layers to it, right? So this is just using OpenStreetMap, right? And as you could see, I added a layer here. So this was a Choropleth layer, but I can also add multiple layers. In case I want to add multiple layers, I can also add layers to it, right? That is something you can also do. So thank you for watching. See you another time. Stay blessed. See you. Bye.